has been a little bit strange because the weather has been super dull and rainy and kind of like unmotivating, so I've been a bit like tired and like moody, and I feel like you've been the same.
You feel that way?
Yeah.
I haven't. It's been awesome. So true. As soon as the weather becomes a bit, well, let's say different, and you're stuck inside of a caravan, of course you spend a lot of time with each other, but you also, maybe you kind of miss that feeling of freedom sometimes. Well, that's how I feel.
Today the weather is beautiful, and we thought we would just make the vlog today, and this vlog is going to be about one of the topics that we get asked the most about, and that is how we kind of started this journey about being a travel influencer, content creator, whatever you want to call it. Kind of like the background story and how we became who we are today. And before we start, I need you to like button up that button because that's really frustrating me right now. I'm gonna ask Rasmus some questions that we have been asked by you guys. Okay, so let's just get started. So the first thing I think we need to cover is like what is our background and like where we started out a few years ago.
Good. Well, I used to work in tourism for many years. I never finished, let's say I finished school, but I never took any degree or went to university or anything. So I was, let's say, doing it via the career. I was working in the same company for 10, 11 years. And so for me it was a lot about, well, competing with other people and the whole, let's say, flying everywhere, staying in hotels. It's cool. Like, I think I have 20 different membership cards of lounges and airline companies and whatever, and back then it was just, it was so awesome because so I wouldn't say materialistic, is that a word? Yeah. But definitely I was a young guy who had a vision of that was a dream.
Yeah, you were earning like a decent amount of money.
I had a good salary, definitely.
Yeah.
But the issue was that looking back, as much money I earned, and since I started working, since I was 10, 12 years old, whatever, I've always spent the money I had. Like, I've always just, so the more money I earned, the more money I spent. And looking back now, earning nothing, then kind of wish I did differently, probably.
Yeah. And how was your stress levels, because you were working a lot of hours every week?
So for many of my first years I was kind of having a mattress at the office and sleeping there, and that was
so intense.
That was a lot of hours, but also it was my life. I didn't have Caroline back then. Work was my thing, and my colleagues and the team vibe and everything like that.
And then you went soft.
Yeah, she ruined my life. So of course, like, working that much especially for, well, let's say 10 years, then it kind of starts to gain on your body. So what you think you could do when you're 20 and you started working, when you become later in your 20s, you can kind of feel it in your body, you can feel it in your mindset. For quite some time I was down with I wouldn't say I was down with stress, but definitely I wasn't listening enough to my body, and I should have listened more.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn a little bit because I'm getting the sun in my eye. I'm sorry, that's being rude.
You can get your sunglasses. No, that's too arrogant.
That would be arrogant, yeah. Can I wear some?
Yeah. Okay, so just to quickly touch on my background, I'm not as old as Rasmus, so I don't have that much experience with work or like professional career. But I have a bachelor's degree that's in business. So while I was doing this degree, I was working a lot part-time, and I was doing a couple of internships as well. And I was definitely that girl who wanted to be perfect in like every area of my life. And I feel like all that I just broke down at some point, because at one point I was living in New York, so I had an internship at a big headquarters business office in New York City, and I was working there, I think, 40 hours every week. And on the side of that, I was studying full time, so I was doing exams abroad on my school in Copenhagen, through my school in Copenhagen. And at the same time, I was also having a part-time job overseas for a corporation in Denmark, so I could like earn money to live in New York City. And I was also going out on the weekends. I was also like doing yoga and being social and getting new friends. And at some point that just completely broke down. I got so sick with stress that I just had to get a sick leave from my school and like postpone my bachelor's degree because I was so ill that my doctor said like you have to go on summer vacation now. So that was like my background.
And then you said enough is enough.
Yeah.
And changed your life.
And then maybe you should tell how you, because you were the first one of us to go full time on the travel book. So maybe you can tell like where the travel book started and then where it was like when you went full time.
Yeah. So for a long time I've wanted to try this thing out, because for about 3 years in advance we've been doing these travel books, the travel book. We've been doing these books of our memories and the places we went to, and we started to put things online. It was a lot easier for friends and family and whoever to share tips with if it's on a website instead of in a book. But I kind of saw some kind of potential in this, and I had a opportunity of leaving the company, and everyone was happy at that stage, and that gave me kind of a push into going full time on this, because for a long time, well, I think that's for many startup companies, it's about taking it that one step, leaving everything behind and going, okay, now I'm doing this. And to begin with, I had no idea what I was going to do, because normally it required that Caroline and I, we would go on a holiday and we would take some pictures and do some videos, and we would write down a few tips that we thought was appropriate. And now I was full time on this travel book, and I had no idea what to do. So it started off with a trip to Iceland with a friend of mine, and on that trip I kind of started thinking a bit more corporate of how we could create this into a business, because in the past we wouldn't earn any money on the travel book. Once in a while we would extend a trip by getting a free stay somewhere. We would do some marketing for them and everyone was happy. I guess the classic influencer travel blogger thing. Yeah.
But there was no money in it.
There was no money in it at all, and I was lucky to leave the company with some money in my pocket, and I knew that I had around half a year so to pay rent and pay expenses for the travel book, marketing, websites, whatever, gear, and then we went to Asia for a few months. We were living and staying in these incredible luxury villas, palm beaches everywhere, great food, private chefs in villas, whatever. It was everything you could ever imagine as a young Danish couple. Like, that would be the dream.
Is it superficial?
Of course it is. It's very superficial and it's very shallow, and it's something that, looking back at, I'm very happy we did. So I can say it's not worth it.
And what about like the part of being a travel blogger, flying to Asia, like chasing those unique, perfect blue waters, palm trees, like the perfect shot of that, like that one mountain in Bali, that one volcano crater, like the chase?
Well, my but I'm becoming old, right? Throughout the last year or so, I've been looking a bit differently at these things, because a few years ago I would be that one guy in Iceland. Well, just 1 year ago I was in Iceland, waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning to hunt the northern light over this beautiful waterfall. The picture is good, by the way, but I was that kind of guy. I was doing it, and next to me there was another 500 people going for the same kind of photo. Going to Asia, there's 100 people at every spot doing the exact same thing, and I know how to take pictures, but I'm not the best photographer. A lot of these people are very good photographers, and competing with that, hunting a destination, taking a train 10 hours, a little boat to see this volcano at some little island, wherever. I would never say now that it's worth it, because it's a different way of exploring things. You don't really have a focus on what's around you. You don't listen to the noises. You don't meet the people, because you're so focused on getting this one picture. Like you're having your phone in one hand going, oh, how did it look on that guy's Instagram? And then, ooh, I'm trying to take the same. So I can say now, a year later, it's such a relief not caring a lot about getting that perfect location, but more about still getting a great picture of something that could be wherever. And I think that there's so many people with great potential who kind of loses it on its way because they are so focused on those big, great influences they've been following. And in some way they forget to create their own path, and they forget to kind of explore and get the best out of themselves.
Where would you say that you are on a personal level today with like your mental state?
A lot better than I was a year ago. I think that the fact that we now have things a bit more, let's say, under control, we know where we're going, we have a clear strategy of what we want to do, that really helps me a lot, and I'm less stressed. I don't have the same problems with my anxiety and these kind of things. I'm in a different state of mind, and a lot more peaceful.
And I would say that because I was so sick with stress earlier on, that is something I have to like be aware of the rest of my life. But it definitely helps me a lot that we have so flexible work hours, so I can kind of like do whatever I want in the morning, and then I can work a bit in the afternoon, and then I can take the evening off as well if I really need to relax, or I can take a whole day off if I'm feeling stressed and I just need to like
Just not allowed to
care for myself that day. That really works a lot for me. And then on days where I'm really motivated and energized, I can work like through the whole day. Yeah, so that's really positive for me. So how is it to be working with your partner?
In many ways it's good. Like in most ways it's good. There's always the fact that you have to remember, you have to stay, well, sometimes you need to put on a filter, right? Because you need to eat together an hour later or so. So let's say that we were just co-workers. I would probably sometimes express myself in a different way. But like you all know that feeling. You have this shitty co-worker at your job, you're having a difficult day, and you just want to go home and you just want to tell your boyfriend, girlfriend, your family or whatever, this person sucks.
Yeah.
You can't, because this person sucks and she's still eating with me. And that's probably the biggest difficulty, is that you have to be very clear, and like sometimes we're talking business, sometimes we are just a couple. And not to mix it.
Yeah, and furthermore, we are both very independent people, so we kind of like to do our own thing. That is also the reason why I have been able to do like internships abroad and be fine. Like our relationship was fine while we were doing that, because we're just naturally really independent. So being together all the time is a bit draining.
Even this, like sitting here for 20 minutes has been too much.
No, but we're gonna round up. See you soon. I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you next Sunday, because we upload new vlogs every Sunday. And please remember to like and subscribe. We thrive on that. Thrive.
Thank you very much.
Bye.